So one of the questions we get asked here a lot at Westcott is what is the difference between an octa and a square softbox, and when would you use each of them? So today I'm going to be walking you through exactly what is the difference and when I would use each. So for this comparison, we're going to use two softboxes from my Rapidbox switch line, the Octa M and the 2x3 softbox. So these two softboxes are very comparable since they are similar surface areas and also made out of the same material. So when comparing these two softboxes, you'll actually notice the quality of light is actually almost identical. The shadows have the same density and the gradation of light is almost the same. So for this comparison, I wanted to start in the studio. That way I wasn't worrying about ambient light and only light was coming from the strobe and the softbox itself. So when setting up for the comparison, I made sure to keep my strobe at the same height and angle and only change the softbox. That way you're truly only getting a comparison in the softbox and not the light angle. I also kept my camera settings and my strobe settings exactly the same for both shots. So when comparing the photos, you'll notice two major differences. The first one is very simple. The catch lights are going to be different. So the second difference isn't as noticeable. The fall off in these two softboxes are actually different, and if you looked at the wall behind her, you can see this. So if you look at the photo taken with the square softbox, you'll actually notice the fall off is a more crisp line. This is because the straight edges of the softbox. The fallout is going to be a lot easier to control, but also a lot less forgiving since it's a crisp line. So when working with octas, the line from the fall off is going to be less noticeable due to its rounder shape. So another difference between an octa and a square softbox is the square softbox has two different orientations. It can be mounted either vertical or horizontally, where the octa only has one. So where you notice the biggest difference when working with the two different shapes of softboxes is when working with reflective objects. So some examples when working with portraits is you're going to notice this in the catchlight of your subject's eyes, also in things like glasses and watch faces. Also, a lot of times when doing product photography, the product will be reflective and the shape of the softbox will actually show up in the product itself. While I do use both an octa and a square in my photography, I do have a preference on when I want to use each type of softbox. So when shooting product photography, I prefer to use either a rectangle or a square softbox. Since it has a straight edge, it gives you nice and even highlights on my product. So for portraits, I prefer an octa since the catchlights are going to look more natural and resemble the sun. So when working in studio, sometimes I'll also use a square since the catchlights can resemble a window, but when outside that can look very odd. So when working on location outdoors, I will always use an octa because it looks more natural. So which is your favorite to use, a square or an octa? Let me know in the comments below, and thank you for watching.